evening, and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle since 2011. Joining me tonight is Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. Aguna is off tonight. We have a packed show for you. Oh my gosh. The Supreme Court begins to allow the Trump administration to enforce a ban on transgender military service members. Stephen with NASCAR, as the president considers an executive order to regulate NIL after meeting with Nick Saban. When Trump spoke to Alabama graduates last Thursday, he talked about that. The NBA playoffs and Mike Waltz, the president moved him from national security advisor to the ambassador to the United Nations. Flying out of Newark Airport, air traffic controllers suggest that you do not do it. After all of the screens that the air traffic controllers look at to see the planes went black. And you didn't see where anyone was. Canadian Prime Minister tells President Trump at the White House today that Canada will never be for sale. Kentucky Derby winner will not be in the Preakness. And the U.S. Attorney General announces a large fentanyl bust ever and more. If we can fit it in, we always have a ton to fit in. First up, NASCAR with Stephen. Stephen, you want to talk about, then I'll play the video.
Yeah, this race at Texas was awesome. This is what we've been waiting for. The last 2 weeks, we had a really short track. We had a very large track. And these new cars that they have for the last couple of years just can't run on the very short tracks or the very large tracks. The racing is not good. It's not good. They don't pass well. It's no excitement. In Talladega, the big thing they talk about every race is there's going to be the big one. And there's going to be like 25 cars in this big crash. It just happens every time. And it's exciting but these cars aren't made for this. And like I said last week on the show, they're made for 1.5 mile tracks. And the race coming up, which was Texas, I said was going to be a really good race. It ended up being 12 cautions. And that's not just the biggest story. They had a huge wreck, which was a big one there. That should have been in Talladega. But the racing is so competitive here, and they fight so hard for every position that it's exciting. If they don't wreck it all, it's still as exciting. Then nobody needs to crash. It's the racing is good. If people just follow each other all day, you can't do it. Nobody can do it. And I've been complaining about it for a few weeks on the show, and I've seen now Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a former driver, and there's got crew chiefs and other drivers are coming out now and saying something needs to happen. And the big thing is Dale Earnhardt Jr., he stated the very obvious is they need to do away with the point system they have now and go back to the old system, and perhaps they can get people back interested again, because a lot of times this is what their intent in NASCAR was to make it more exciting. It doesn't make it more exciting. It lets people hold back. All these races don't really matter till you get to the playoffs and all the points get closer again. It's a real bogus system. They're not going to change it this year. Maybe they'll change it next year or the year after. But the thoughts are out there because it is hurting racing. Because you can have 5 bad races in a row and still make it to the playoffs, which doesn't make any sense. So go back to the old system or tweak the old system, but get away from this system and bring the interest back. Because if you don't, and you don't get the cars ready for the super raceways or the small ones, if you don't have the cars for those, then get out of it until you can get those cars better or something. I don't know what you do. Is you got to fix something. Maybe the horsepower needs to go up maybe 70, I don't know, maybe 25% in the huge race. Yeah. So things need to change. Things need to change in NASCAR, or they're not going to stay around.
Okay. Oh, wow. Let me share this and you can talk about this after.
And Todd Gilliland, who did not pit on that last caution, it worked out fine for him. 17th after pit stops, a gain of 8 from where he would have been at the end of that prior caution. We're back to green. Byron taking off. And let's see how long he can hold the lead with a car where the steering angle is off just a bit.
Might not be as bad as they thought. Bubba Wallace, he's wrecked.
Big contact.
And he catches.
This is a big one.
Gregson, Bowman up and into the wall, and Allmendinger collected, and more.
Oh. He was.
Well, that's the big one we didn't have last week.
That guy was late to the party.
Yeah, well, we knew that these restarts were going to continue to get more and more physical, and we saw him get into the wall, got all jammed up there off of turn 2, and Bubba lost control of his car, and that just caused a chain of events.
7th caution flag of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a real exciting race, and they have for the standings right now we have Byron in first, Larson, Hamlin, Elliott, and Tyler Riddick, which is part of the Denny Hamlin, Michael Jordan team. And Bubba is a part of Bubba Wallace is part of that team as well, and he's in 8th place. So the Jordan team has 2 teams in the top 10, which is really exciting, especially after it's been 11 races. After this time, it's looking pretty good for them right now this year. They've really got it together. So they're a team to look at this year. Very, very nice. I compliment them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to play. I don't know who this news is. I'm not sure. I want to play a little clip about what President Trump is doing with NIL. But until then, let's talk about the NBA playoffs. Steven, I don't want to ask Todd. I don't want to ask Keith.
What do you have? Do you have a question about it or anything? Or who's playing? Do you want to set up who's playing or anything?
I just wanted you to talk about what was going on, what it looks like in the NFL playoffs that are going on right now. But if you don't want to, that's fine.
No, it's not that I don't want to. It's I don't know all the particulars right now because I just don't. Okay. I'm not big in the NBA. I will jump into it, but
okay, don't worry about it. I'll take it from here, dum.
Take it.
No, that's okay. I'm interested. Take it. I'll just never mind, Todd. Thanks anyway. Not interested. Not interested in you, Todd. I'm gonna play this.
Action on Sunday. We get your top 5 right here on NBA.com at number 5. In just a flash of light, this guy takes flight. Donovan Mitchell just exploding to the rim and throwing that one in. Mitchell with the one-hand slam lands at number 5 on the countdown. Moving along to number 4, where we always get up off the floor. This time we're talking defense. Look at Benedict Mathurin tracking back and smacking that, and that's nothing but pumpkin up high as he flies to deny DeAndre Hunter. That one in at number 4. Up to number 3, and Steph Curry with a blind fine dime to blow your mind. Tari Eason looks like he's off the post after that one. Buddy Hield drops the 3 off this just genius play from Steph Curry. That one's in at number 3. Up to number 2, and Buddy's back again, and never leave the half court short. He knows the rules. Drilling that one. Buddy was a sensation in this one. He's in at number 2. But at number 1, back to Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell throws it up, and Jarrett Allen gets the stuff more than a dunk. That's just a fastball, y'all, from the guy who's too tall. Jarrett stuffs it in there to land at number 1 on the NBA.com. Come on.
Okay, great. Well, stop sharing that, and then let me share this screen so I can show you where everyone stands with the NBA.
Are we going to talk about what we just saw or not?
You can't talk about it, so nobody wants to hear anything you have to say about that. Cavaliers are leading, followed by the Celtics, the Knicks, the Pacers, the Bucks, the Pistons, Orlando Magic, the Heat, the Hawks, the Bulls, Raptors, Nets, 76ers, and 13. Hornets, and then Wizards. That's the Eastern Conference. Western Conference, you've got the Thunder, the Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Timberwolves, Warriors, Grizzlies, Kings, Mavericks, Suns, Trailblazers, Spurs, Pelicans, and Jazz. What did you want to say, Cousin Todd? You can say it now that we're basically not talking about it.
Forget it. I was just going to comment on what we just saw from Benedict Arnold scoring a home run to Donovan McNabb getting a goal. That's
Okay,
all
you're
I was
talking
going to
about
talk
all
about.
these people from ancient times mixing it in.
Ancient, didn't you just hear him talk about Benedict? You know what? You're not a sports person, so forget it. Just forget
Stacey,
it.
I'll take the Golden State Warriors to win it all, although they are about a 6.5 point underdog tonight. I will still take them to win it all because they're an older team and nobody's giving them much credit. I will take them to run it.
And they're
It's
ranked.
not going to be easy. Huh?
They're ranked 7,
Yeah.
as I just showed, which is kind of low.
Yeah, that's fine. They have the experience to take them where they want to go. If they can stay healthy and they can get their, the full complement of players they have on the entire team to come out there and perform their best. You got Curry. Curry, you can get 30 any night. So I'll take them, even though they're old. They're average older than a lot of other teams, and it's like the other teams, Pacers and everybody, Cleveland. They're up there, and they're young youth. I'm going with the older people to take it all the way, just with experience, because if they can get everything they have out of their players that are the best players on the team and the players that are young and up and coming, then I think they have just as good a chance as anybody else, and that's what I'm going with.
Okay. Thank you.
Who do you like, Stacey?
I'm always for the 76ers, but we don't stand a chance. We're too far down. We still have, injury problems and basically, staffing problems.
That's exactly the reason why I'm going with the Dolphins.
Right. Well, Stacey, don't give up hope. Anything can happen.
The Dolphins are a football team, Cousin Todd. We're talking about professional basketball. You're talking about professional football. 2 different leagues.
I don't understand.
Well, Stacey, don't worry about Philly. Anything can happen.
Yeah, well, Philly's not going to make it. I know it. Everybody knows it. I mean, if I weren't going to go for Philly, I may go for the Brooklyn Nets, but they're not. They're only one. They're only one thing
Brooklyn,
right above us.
Oh my gosh, that's a baseball team, dum. Haven't you ever heard of the Dodgers? Never mind. Just forget it.
Brooklyn Nets are a baseball team. The Brooklyn Nets are not a baseball team, Cousin Todd. All right, that's it with NBA playoffs. I wanted to talk about President Trump and NIL, college sports.
I think you mean NHL.
Now, Cousin Todd.
Hockey.
Sorry. Let me share my screen. And then I'll read a little bit and then you guys can respond to it. President Donald Trump is considering an executive order for NIL after meeting with Nick Saban, former head coach of Alabama football. So he's considering an executive order aimed at greater scrutiny towards the name, image, and likeness deals in college athletics. Okay. An executive order will still likely need congressional action, said the president of the NCAA. A potential order comes on the heels of a landmark case of House versus NCAA. Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, who previously had stints as the coach of Ole Miss, Auburn, Texas Tech, and Cincinnati, also said he spoke with the Trump administration about NIL, which is name, image, and likeness deals in college athletics. He said college football is the heart and soul of America, but it's in danger if we don't level the playing field. So basically, somebody stop moving their whatchamacallit around, please. I don't know what you're moving around, your microphone or something, because we're hearing it. So basically, they're trying to mainstream or kind of regulate NIL. And Todd, you talked about this years ago on the show, and about how college athletes should be given the opportunity to make money, right?
Right.
So what do you think, or how do you agree about President Trump trying to regulate that?
I don't agree with him trying to regulate that. I think Congress had, what is so funny? I think Congress should do their job. And I don't think well, I'm not two-faced, unlike Stephen and his boy tour. I mean, and Keith. I'm consistent. They're not. For example, Keith was saying he hates executive orders. They should stop all these executive orders, except when Trump does them, then he loves them. So I don't like executive orders. I think Congress should do their job. And Congress should step in and do exactly what I said years ago, even the playing field, so that these players don't make $2 while the college make $2 million off of one person. So, and actually, Aguna did not agree with me in the beginning. Then he came around. But fair is fair. And these colleges are making a lot of money off of these student athletes. And so they should be paid. Now, I'm not saying they should make millions of dollars, these students, but certainly they can get a stipend for their image and likeness.
So it says here, Keith, let me share my screen. According to Fox News, it says Fox Digital News. It says that Saban urged Congress to step in and make NIL equal across the board. He said, I think that should still exist for all players, but not just a pay for play system like we have now, where whoever raises the most money in their collective can pay the most for the players, which is not a level playing field. I think in any competitive venue, you want to have some guidelines that gives everyone an equal opportunity to have a chance to be successful. Saban said the NCAA can handle name, image, and likeness and whatever changes are necessary, but Congress needs to add national legislation. Now, we just have the state legislation, and every state is different. That will protect the NCAA from litigation once we establish guidelines for the future of college athletics. But the litigation has got us to this point right now, Saban said. We have to have some protection from litigation. I don't know if it's antitrust laws or whatever. This is according to foxdigitalnews.com.
What he's saying is federally, so that everybody is protected, not state by state. That never works.
So thank you, Keith. I was talking to Keith.
Keith would not know anything.
Yeah, I don't know. First of all, there's nothing in the Constitution. It's not enumerated that the president has any authority at all over the national. I mean, over this NCAA or any of these others. I don't see that.
Well, executive order he can use.
Executive orders, or he's given an executive order. I guess that's where we are today. Once again, I'm not in agreement.
He hasn't given an executive order yet. He said he could do it.
Yeah, well, I'm given it yet. Okay. Well, I'm not in agreement with the whole concept of giving executive orders on all these issues, on all these things, and I've said that before. Todd pointed that out. Of course, he called me a hypocrite, but that's not true, because I am consistent about this: that where the president has authority It says it exclusively in the Constitution. And if you read your Constitution, you'll find out what it says. And Congress has all other authority. Let the states handle their particular,
Can you
rules
clarify what you
and
just said?
policies.
You're saying that the president has the right to make an executive decision?
He has the
And
executive. He has a right to make executive orders in the
okay,
area of federal matters,
okay,
but those federal matters have to be consistent with the Constitution. In other words, it has to be in the Constitution, and if it's not enumerated, then it's left to the states. Enumerated
okay.
means that it's put directly in the Constitution.
No, I got it. But that's not what you say when Barack Obama makes executive orders or Joe
Say
Biden.
Bill Clinton.
I was going to say Bill Clinton, but Joe Biden. Those
Yeah,
two, that's when you have a big problem. Oh, that's
yeah,
all they ever do is sit around and make all these. Why
yeah.
don't they let Congress do their jobs? This is what
Because
you say.
their executive orders do not reflect their enumerated powers in the
Oh,
Constitution.
get out of here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So,
That's why I'm with
Stephen,
Trump.
Yeah.
so basically, this executive order would limit the amount of money that college athletes could receive. Is that fair?
I think that
Now, wait, be
Trump,
careful, Stephen, because you agreed with me before. Now you're getting ready to flip flop so you can stay boyfriends with Keith.
I think Trump and the administration has so many more important things to deal with. I think that the sport industry, if it's college or pros, and now college is pros, if you're going to pay these guys, it's a filthy situation. It's dirty, filthy, but it's its own thing. And maybe someday down the line you can fix it. I don't know how you fix it, because if you can do it above board or you can do it below board. So they've been doing it below board forever, and they want to see if they can do it above board. It doesn't matter any way they do it; it's going to be fixed anyway. People are going to pay the most money for anything. It doesn't matter. So we have so much more going on in this country that we need to pay attention to, and just let the sports be sports, unless it's really unfair, crazy things going on. Now, if everybody can make money and everybody can do this, I'll leave it alone. I don't care, because it's happening anyway.
Okay,
There might
now
be high school people. It might be high school people getting money. It's always been like
now
that.
let's
The
answer
best
question.
people are going to get paid under
Let's
the
answer
table or on top.
question. Should Donald Trump be involved in this? Yes or no?
I believe that he's involved in it because he is a friend with
Okay.
Saban, and this is Saban's thing, and he's trying to curry favor with Trump, and he's trying to do something for a friend of his, because that's how Trump is. He's like, hey, let me see,
Did
maybe
you
it's a.
answer the
But if it,
question?
I did.
Should Trump be involved? Yes or no?
No, I already said that there's bigger fish to fry. He shouldn't
That
be
would be
involved.
no.
But
That would
if
be
he
no
is
then.
involved, I mean, it's his business. But we have
Oh my
bigger things to do
God.
in this country. You know what I
This
mean?
is what it is now to be a Trump supporter. You can never answer a question.
I
And you
did
just
answer the
babble on.
question. I said
Yes or
I've
no?
answered your question
Should
completely.
he be
I
involved in
said he has other things that he should be worried about. He shouldn't worry about this.
Stacey?
That
Is
answers
he
your
saying yes
question,
or
Todd.
no? Is he
Huh?
saying yes or no? Would you know, Stacey?
Yeah,
How
I'm
about you,
saying
Stacey?
he doesn't need to. I'm saying Trump doesn't need to be involved in this. I don't care if he's involved in this, but he has other things to
I don't
do.
care if he's involved.
I don't care if he involves himself in this. It
That's
doesn't
a
matter
no,
in
Todd.
our lives. It doesn't
That's a
matter.
Hey,
no.
Todd.
Keith, is that a yes or a no?
That's a no, Todd. He's saying
Russia,
no. That's
no. I don't want. I don't. He
Why
should.
couldn't
I
you
don't.
just
I'm
say
not saying
that?
he should or not.
Hey,
He just got better things to
oh
do.
my
So
God.
no, yeah, he got better things to do. But if he doesn't, I'm
Stephen,
not going to hold it against him,
Steve,
because he's
it
just trying to
took
help
you an
out a friend.
hour
That's
to
all.
say that. It took you an hour to
Because
say.
Nick Saban
No,
got out of football because of
Stephen,
this. Because they're starting to pay people. Nick Saban has been upset for a couple
Stephen,
years now.
who
That's why
cares?
he got out of football. See, this
What,
is huge to him, but this
Stephen?
isn't huge to the
Stop,
world. Yes.
Stephen.
Listen,
Why are you babbling on? It was a
I'm not.
simple
I'm telling you.
question. Should Trump be involved? Yes or no? And after an hour, you said no. That's
Yes,
it.
but I don't care if he's involved. If he gets
So
involved and he
let me bring
changes
this
it,
in.
I don't care. I just personally think he's got bigger fish to
Okay.
fry.
Okay, so let me bring this in. It's really the
Congress who
name,
should be doing this.
not really, because it's name, image, and likeness. That's publicity. So my question would be, if Donald Trump, as president, signed an executive order for someone's publicity or a student's publicity federally, wouldn't he have to sign executive orders for other people's publicity?
No, he wouldn't.
Why not?
Because that would not apply. This would be specific, and the writing would be specific to athletes in college, which he has nothing to do with. This is what Stephen was saying. He should mind his business, leave that to Congress or to the colleges. He's got other things to do. So to insert himself with some executive powers in this is typical. It's money grabbing, and it's out of his purview.
Okay, so what about those students who aren't athletes, who are performers? College students who are performers, whether they perform
as actors or dancing,
or play instruments, or they have artists who draw and sculpture. They have publicity. Should theirs, the amount of money they're able to collect, be limited by an executive order?
No, I'll tell you the difference between them. The difference is a college actor can go off and make money and come back to school. You see what I'm saying? The college has nothing to do with the money they make. For example, Brooke Shields. Remember, she was an actress, and then she went to college, and then she was acting in between semesters. And so the college had nothing to do with the money she was making. She wasn't on a scholarship. See, these people are on scholarships. And so
what about the ones who are on scholarships for acting and for playing piano, like Juilliard or any other school? Some people are on scholarships for the arts. What about them?
Well, that is different, because they can go have a concert tour and make the money they want to make without the college having nothing to do with it, as opposed to a company using your image on a video game and you making no money off of it.
But what Trump and Saban are saying is, you make money, but we're going to regulate how much you can make.
Right, which has nothing to do with Trump.
Trump is going to sign an executive order saying,
which he has no business doing.
How are they going to regulate it? How are they going to regulate it?
They can make, you can make this much, you can make that much, you can, for posters, you can make this much, for video games, you can make $500. I'm just giving arbitrary.
Right. I got you. Right.
So the bottom line is, this is out of the president's purview. He should be busy doing other things, like stopping the tariffs and stopping the taxes he's creating for poor people like you.
All right. We'll see what he does. And
he might just be, sometimes he just says stuff to get things to change. Maybe it'll change without a, maybe they'll have some kind of regulation that'll overtake it all. He won't have to do anything. Sometimes he does that just to get things going.
That's ridiculous. And that kind of troublemaking, agitating rabble rouser has no business in the White House.
But it works. It's like the art of the deal.
How does it work?
So it's the art of the deal. You don't understand.
Control computer screens went dark for up to 90 seconds. This was last Monday. Controllers losing communications with packed passenger planes approaching for landing and planes taking off, unable to see, hear, or talk to the pilots of the aircraft they were monitoring. Pilots could be heard learning of the outage over the radio. A number of controllers on duty during that outage so shaken, they've now taken medical leave. The air traffic control system already chronically understaffed. There have been delays at Newark Airport for 8 straight days now, arrivals averaging 4-hour delays. Now a major airline tonight warning about the chaos there. Newark is, of course, one of the country's busiest airports, and now comes this new reporting that air traffic controllers suddenly had no way to communicate with the passenger jets that they were monitoring in the air. ABC's
my
Matt Rivers leading us
gosh.
off tonight. He's at Newark Airport.
Growing alarm at Newark's Liberty Airport tonight. ABC News learning air traffic controllers lost radar and communications with planes packed with passengers for 60 to 90 seconds last week. A system-wide outage last Monday at a Philadelphia facility that manages the airspace around Newark Airport caused controllers to lose the ability to see, hear, or talk to all arriving and departing aircraft at one of the busiest airports in the country. Pilots can be heard learning of the outage over the radio.
I just got told that the approach lost all their radars. 3 of their 4 radar screens went black, and they have no frequencies.
Controllers from another tower advising pilots that radio frequencies have failed.
And they want you to be advised that they may not be able to radar contact you because of the radar issues, and they may lose you on for certain times of when you're flying.
In a statement, the union saying many controllers took medical leave, citing, quote, a traumatic event. United Airlines, which has a major hub at Newark, accusing the controllers of, quote, walking off the job. But no matter the reason, the result has been chaos. For the 8th day in a row, delays and cancellations mounting. And tonight, the average delay on some arrivals nearly 4 hours.
Nobody knows what's next and if my flight's getting delayed more.
The FAA has already warned that runway construction and a shortage of controllers would disrupt the number of planes scheduled to fly in or out. United Airlines cutting at least 35 round-trip flights per day, saying without more air traffic controllers, they have no choice. And David, the real concern here, those roughly 90 seconds where air traffic controllers were essentially cut off from all those planes. And tonight, a budget proposal in the House calling for some $15 billion to modernize the nation's air traffic control systems. David?
All right, man.
Unbelievable.
Okay, Cousin Todd, since you started it, let me ask you, that's unbelievable. Plenty of people travel as the summer season begins. More people are going to travel. They had to get help. The problem started in Philadelphia, which isn't far from Newark. Then they had to get help from Philadelphia to help, control that traffic. But the question becomes, there aren't enough air traffic controllers. This is a federal problem. This is not a state problem. It's a federal problem. And it takes years to train air traffic controllers. And it also takes years for air traffic controllers to get used to their specific area. So for example, if they're in Newark, their onboarding can take almost 2 years just to get used to the traffic in Newark. How do they replace them when they have a shortage, they have a mandatory retirement age, and they're now taking off for trauma-related experiences? Can you imagine sitting there controlling flights and then your board just goes blank? You don't know where anyone goes. You're thinking you could have killed thousands and thousands of people.
Or not could have killed, but you're going to kill if this board doesn't come back. Our uncle Norman was a air traffic controller.
That's right. He started with the military.
Right.
He started in the military as an air traffic controller, and that may be some of the response. Have some of the air traffic controllers from the military go into the civilian world and help out until we're able to fill a void.
That's right. Which I was going to say that, but I was going to add to it that my uncle is not white.
Todd, wait. What does that have to do with controlling?
If you would allow me to talk, I could tell you what it had to do with it. Trump wants white boys only. Get rid of DEI, remember? And so
did your uncle get his job by DEI?
Shut your pie hole.
And did he get DEI?
Shut up. Now that he's getting rid of DEI, no blacks allowed. He wants all white boys and air traffic controllers. And so there's never been more crashes since he took office. Now, there's been in DC, remember the crash that already happened in DC between a helicopter and an airliner? Well, it almost happened again. 2 planes had to reroute because of this Black Hawk helicopter. And they're all white boys. And so this is what we have with Duffy as head of the what do you call it? Head of the
Transportation.
transportation. That's right. This is who is perfectly unqualified to do this
Why
the
are you
job,
saying he's
but he's
unqualified,
white
Todd?
because he doesn't have a background in it. What he has a background in is reality TV.
The woman, there was a woman driving the helicopter, flying the helicopter,
white,
and she was there because of DEI.
white woman,
Right, DEI woman.
and she was there because. Do you see this stupidity? How
No,
would
it's
you
not.
know that? Just the fact that she has to.
And you know what she did? You know what she did, Todd? She disobeyed everything they told her to do. She screwed up. That woman that flying the helicopter is the reason that they ran into the plane.
Where did you get
Because
the information?
they told her to
Where
do
did you
two
get your
things. She didn't do either
information?
one of them.
Where did you get your information?
Yeah, where did you get that from?
You don't know this, guys.
Okay.
Because you
See, he's
can't.
not
If
going
you
to
only
tell
watch
you.
The View,
He's
guys,
not going to
you're not
tell
going to know
you.
what's
I
going
don't
on in the
watch
world.
The View.
I will bet y'all
He's not- look,
$500,000
he's always
tonight
betting.
that
Stop it with
woman
your
is
betting.
responsible than the helicopter that took down the plane. They've already
Okay.
said it. This has
I
already
said,
been
where
settled.
did you get your
It's already been
information?
settled. She
And
had.
he will
She
not
did.
answer
They
the
told her to
question.
turn. She didn't
Where
turn.
did you get your
Listen, Todd.
information?
Listen, Todd. Her instructor, she had an instructor on the thing, told her to do the
Ma'am.
same thing that they told her was turn the plane this way. She didn't do it. And then the instructor said turn it. She wouldn't do it. She disobeyed
Ma'am,
twice.
let
And she
me
caused
explain
the
something to
accident.
you.
I'm
She was
sorry, y'all are
learning
so
on the
unbelievably
job,
uninformed
dum-dum.
about
She's-
everything.
Oh,
Y'all,
gosh.
can y'all do some? I don't know.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
Keith, you know this.
Let-
I'm not pulling a rabbit out of my rear end, am I?
Where did you get your
Okay,
information?
stop
Oh my
saying the same
God.
thing over and over again. Todd and Steven, stop saying the same thing.
Everywhere.
He
It's
won't
everywhere.
answer the
Let me
question.
read this CNN.com article. It says controllers at Philadelphia Terminal Radar Approach Control. Philadelphia Terminal Radar Approach Control, which Philadelphia coordinates planes arriving at Newark, temporarily lost access to the systems that help them guide the aircraft. They couldn't see, hear, or talk to those planes.
Mm-hmm.
They lost primary communication, and the backup line did not immediately take over. And Duffy, head of the
Transportation
Department, told Fox News that Monday. United Flight 674 radar contact lost. Pilot flying from Newark to Charleston, South Carolina. We lost our radar, so just stay on the arrival and maintain 6,000 feet. Can you imagine how scary that is? Then one said, do I have Bravo clearance? The pilot said, Bravo clearance is permission to enter the airspace surrounding the larger airport like Newark Liberty. No, you do not have Bravo clearance. We lost our radar and it's not working correctly.
Mm.
If you want a Bravo clearance, you can just call the tower when you get closer.
Mm. That's terrible.
Colin Scoggins, a former air traffic controller and retired military specialist at the FAA, told CNN that losing both radar and communications on the job can be a scary experience. If you cannot talk to a pilot, then you're really in trouble. I would find it very, very traumatic. That's very traumatic. Keith, I haven't heard from you about what type of solution the Trump administration should be providing for the public.
Well, you know, just like everything else that he's done in terms of agencies, he's in charge of this. Well, he needs to, he's just going to have to clean house. Get
what does
some
that
people
mean?
that are competent. And also, and I'm talking about whether it's air traffic controllers or, you know, dealing with the environmental regulations that are limiting our ability to use power. Because maybe if it was a power outage, it's because they have a lack of, because of some regulation, environmental regulation.
Oh my gosh, you're just making stuff up now.
No, that's what happens in California. So it could happen at that level with the tower.
All right.
No, it didn't. So excuse me. Let me share this.
That's why we get blackouts. You know, we get you know,
let me share this. Let me share this with you. The same article by CNN says the outage was the result of a failure of that copper wiring that transmits information to Newark approach control. There was some infrastructure breakdown related to how the information is relayed right now. Copper wiring along the radars are now operated using a remote line. The source is described as a long extension cord.
See, Todd?
So that has nothing.
Copper.
So wait a minute. So that has nothing to do with firing people. That has to
Nothing.
do with improving the infrastructure of
Well, I
the
said both.
area.
No, and that
I
has
said
nothing
that.
to do with regulations, you crazy. Oh, stop, Steve.
Well, I
You're just
said
trying to
that.
make stuff
I
up.
said if it's
Oh,
regulations that are in the way and
it's
that are
not.
causing it.
You
Okay.
said it was. It's
Well, no, I
okay.
didn't say that it definitely was because
I'm
I don't
moving
know.
on. You're
How could
just
I say
making
that it
stuff
was
up.
when I don't know? I have no
Okay.
idea.
All right.
I
So
said
then why are
that's
you
what happens
babbling?
in California. I was only compared to California. In California, we have regular outages because of regulations.
Okay, I'm going to get
All
back
right.
to Stephen.
So there.
Now,
But does
Stephen's
it affect the
Stephen's
air
thought
traffic controllers?
Stephen's
Okay.
thought is that every person of color and every woman is a DEI hire.
No, it's not.
This is his thought
That's not what he
because
said.
he
Not what it
just
said.
said the woman who got hired as DEI was the fault of the helicopter crash. Now,
She wasn't. She was found to be at fault.
now was my uncle a DEI hire?
I have no idea.
40 years ago.
Oh, really?
I have no idea about
You
your
don't-
uncle.
Well, see, people like you think all blacks are DEI
I do not. I do
hires.
not. I think
Sure you
people should
do.
be based on merit. I don't think they should
They
dumb
are.
down anything to get
They
other people
don't.
in. I don't think
That's
they should
your
make
sick
the test to be
imagination.
a fireman weaker to have a woman on. I
They
think
don't.
everything should be of
So,
standard. And
okay, you already spoken. Now let me go
We've
back and
already
say,
Todd, we've had
let
issues
me.
with airplanes a long time before Trump
Oh gosh,
come into
sure we
power.
did.
We
Sure
had
we did.
many
One
issues with
after the
airplanes.
other,
I
after
haven't
the
wanted
other,
to
after
fly
the
in
other.
about 3 or 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
I
Now I'm
haven't
going to
even
get
wanted
back
to
to.
fly.
I'm
So
going to get back
that's the issue
to.
we have. No, and I'm saying if you check out
I'm
that,
going to get.
I don't know if it's because she was DEI. I'm saying there was something wrong with that woman, that she didn't pay
Oh,
attention to
now
the orders that
you
were
just.
given to her, and she may have
Stacy,
wrecked the
I don't know if
helicopter
you
into the
were
plane
paying
on purpose.
attention.
I don't know
He
that yet.
first said she was a DEI hire. Now he
I
flipped
don't.
it,
Of course,
just like I
I
was a
wouldn't
never
know if
Trumper,
she
never
is.
Trump supporter. Get
No,
out of
of
here.
course I wouldn't
You
know,
just
but I know that she was the cause of the collision with the plane. And I don't know
anyway.
why she disobeyed the orders. She didn't do what she was told to do. I don't know why. I don't know if that's because
Okay.
she's
Let me
DEI
try
or
and
it's because
explain.
she was a plant and she was
Let
trying
me
to kill
try.
people. I don't know, dude.
Okay, shut up. If you don't know, then shut up and let me explain it to you.
You don't know.
Dum-dum.
You don't know.
There was a person or a white male teaching her how to fly the helicopter.
And he told her what to do and she disobeyed
shut
him.
up. Would you
Stephen,
shut
you
up?
gotta let him
No, but
finish.
she disobeyed him. He talked the whole time I talked,
Stephen,
Stacy.
no, he
He
didn't.
did.
He
Yeah, he
did
did. I
not.
swear to God.
Look how
Roll
He
it
crazy
didn't
back.
talk over
is.
you.
I
This is
swear to
not
God he did.
He did not.
Yeah, swear to God he did for 5
I don't
minutes.
say, look.
Stop
Ooh.
talking.
Yes, you did.
Anyway, somebody was teaching her how to fly the plane. So how is the onus on her and not the white boy that was teaching her? Maybe he's at fault. So anyway, but blame everything on DEI because that's what he was taught by white racists.
Okay,
And
thank you, Cousin Todd.
and
You can't
just
go
to
on the
fill
whole show
in
about
that about
You keep
our
repeating
Uncle
yourself, Cousin
Norman,
Todd.
I didn't want him to know when he was hired because I wanted him to walk into the trap. So don't help him. Let him fall into the racist trap.
She didn't do what the white man told her to do. She disobeyed his direct order, and then they crashed. That's what happened, Todd.
Thank you.
It was her fault.
Hey everyone, we do have a bit of breaking news to bring you out of our nation's capital. It looks like the Supreme Court is allowing President Trump to implement his ban on transgender people serving in the military, at least for now. The High Court lifting a lower court injunction blocking the policy while litigation continues. Our senior Washington correspondent, Devin Dwyer, joins me now. All right, Devin, what do we know?
The Supreme Court, Kira, is letting the policy go forward in a divided vote, 6-3. The 3 liberal justices indicated they would dissent from this move. The Trump administration had asked the High Court to lift a block on the policy that was issued by a judge out in Washington state. That judge, appointed by George W. Bush, said that this policy was discriminatory, unfairly exclusionary, and unsupported by the evidence. He said it would likely be struck down, but the Supreme Court now reversing course. What this means, Kira, is that the Trump administration can now begin to discharge transgender service members who have served their country for the last 4 years in the United States military. There are about 4,200 active duty troops who are trans, according to the Pentagon figures. Many of those have served in combat. Many have been awarded. A group of 7 of those trans service members sued to challenge this policy. But today, at least temporarily, Kira, the Supreme Court has turned away their appeals.
So what happens now?
Those discharges can begin. The litigation, however, Kira, does continue. It's in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals out in California. That means ultimately the Supreme Court could actually take up this case on the merits. But what the court is signaling today is that the President of the United States is owed broad deference over how the military is run and who they can allow into the military. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has argued that transgender service members pose a problem for unit cohesion and military readiness, lethality. Although judges have found no evidence of that. But today, again, with this Supreme Court decision, the administration can move forward with the same policy it had back in the first term, removing those service members, around 4,000 of them, though the Biden administration allowed them to serve. So a dramatic change and a real setback for those who did serve and those who have sacrificed for their country. Kira.
Devin Dwyer, thanks for bringing us the breaking news. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Keith. I saw your action. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, there are many different types of regulations and restrictions in joining the military. For just for the heterosexuals, I'm talking about me, or like age, how old you are, things like that. I'm sure there are all kinds of regulations, all kinds of rules, and those are the rules. If you can't follow those
for
rules,
everybody.
yes, for everybody.
Okay,
That's right. That's
All right.
right. There are. I mean, if Stephen joined the military, he'd have to shave his beard, and he'd probably have to, go through the haircut stuff. I mean, little things like that. And we are talking about genders. We're in a military that's supposed to be trained to fight. The military is trained to kill, to fight and kill. There's not a social experiment here. I'm sick and tired of this nonsense. How in the heck could this creep into the military? Leave that crap somewhere else. I mean, we don't need to be talking about transgenders in the military, okay? Because then they have to have all kinds of medication or whatever they have to have, hormone injections or those kind of things. And guess what? If the enemy, you get into a war situation, the enemy captures you,
and it keeps the medication from you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
See,
I
that's
know.
right. No, you don't. I mean, are you crazy? I mean, we're talking about serious stuff. Isn't that right, Stephen?
no.
I mean, there you go.
That's right, Keith. 100%.
Go ahead.
Man.
You want to comment on that?
Yeah, it's like anything else. You can't have a mental disease. You can't have flat feet. You can't have this. They never should have been allowed in. That never should have happened. That was a huge mistake because, like Keith said, they have to be ready. They have to be ready at all times, and these people are not. And the reason they join is because they want to get their. A lot of people want to get their operations done while they're in the military and get all of it because you have to keep going to the doctor constantly once you have anything done.
And you know that because what? Because
I keep my ear down to the ground. I pay attention to what's going on in the world.
Exchange.
So it's like you can't join if you have flat feet. So, but you know what? If I joined and I had flat feet, I probably could get a medal of achievement or whatever. And you could do something great. But that doesn't mean I should be there. If they have regulations, and until just a few years ago, they said transgenderism is a mental disease that needs to be worked out in your head. You don't need to change your body. You need to get your head straight.
Okay.
And that. And they want to go back to the military of being no nonsense, no garbage, no pride flags, no none of that. They want to go back to where it was. And we need to be ready because this is for real. Yes, Stacey, this is for keeps. This is for keeps.
Cousin Todd, they're doing that with the military because the president is the commander in chief of the U.S. military. And at the same time, Secretary of Defense Hegseth is talking about cutting the military positions out.
Yeah, I expect him to. Stephen was just saying.
Can't talk for a long time. We're almost out of time. Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
Oh, okay. I'll just let Stephen talk for a long time. Stephen was just saying they have to be ready, and they never should have let these people in because they have mental illness. And and he said they get in. This is for the people that weren't listening to him, just so they can get a sex change operation. Who told you that? Did you talk to them and that's what they explained to
Don't
you?
answer him, Stephen. He's just talking.
He's
Don't
not
answer.
going to answer me because there is no answer he can give me.
No, because she told me not to.
Yeah, use that one. I believe you. So anyway, gay people have been joining the military ever since there was a military.
Okay, wait a minute,
But
Todd.
that's different. That's different.
Transgender
No,
doesn't mean
just-
they're gay.
Gay is not
cut me off. You
transgenderized.
and your boy toy can't keep cutting me off.
Gay is different.
Stop
Gay
moving
is
the mics
okay.
around. I
Gay
don't
is
know.
okay.
Stop moving the mics around. Somebody's moving the mics around. I'm hearing a lot.
It's cousin
Okay.
Todd.
So okay,
Todd.
if
Stop
I
moving your
can
mic around,
finish. Oh my gosh, this is like she's a plant. Anyway, he just said it's a mental illness. They never should have allowed these people in anyway. He was talking about gay and transgender people both. Now
No,
he's going
I was
to
talking
trick
about
you,
trans.
Stacey, because you're weak-minded and you allow this kind of
I
nonsense.
am not weak-minded, and
Well,
I
I'm
wasn't talking
not
about
allowing
gay.
you.
Gay is okay.
Finish your point. Finish your
Well,
point.
I said that because you said no. There's transgender. They're two different things.
Stop.
So you,
Stop moving that other mic around, Todd. You're really causing a lot of. There's a difference. Yeah,
not
thank you.
moving.
Keep your hands where everyone can see them.
Who's heard that before?
He's here. Who told me that before?
I think
I'm
it's
sure
his
you heard that a
collar,
lot of
Stacey.
times, man.
His
You're
collar's
belligerent.
collar.
You're a belligerent person, man.
So my point
Stacey,
is this:
his
just
mic is
because you're
rubbing against his
transgender,
collar.
it doesn't mean you're gay. But Todd, you didn't make that distinction. But go ahead and finish your point.
No, because Stephen did not make that
keep your hands
distinction.
I did. I said gay is okay. How much more of a
No,
distinction
you
do
said
you
that
need?
much later. You said,
Oh
these
my
people-
God! I don't put those two together. I don't put transgender and gay together.
Go
They're
ahead,
separate.
Todd.
That's why they had the big alphabet
Stephen,
before.
stop and
The
let him
T
finish.
and the L, they're all different.
Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
You kill me. So the point is, Stephen and Keith are obsessed with transgender people. They're obsessed with gay people.
No,
I've
we're
never
not.
seen
Story.
anything like this
It was
in my
Stacey that brought
life.
up the story,
Todd,
not us.
keep your hands where we.
I have never
Do this.
in my
Just do
life.
this, Todd.
Stacey, it's his jacket, Stacey.
Interlace your
Jacket in your
fingers and put them behind your head. Interlace your
Stacey.
fingers.
His jacket.
Yeah, Todd, do what you usually do with the 5-0.
Yeah, do this, Todd. It should come natural, man.
So
It's rubbing
Anyway.
against his jacket.
Yeah, it is rubbing against your jacket. Keith is right.
okay, so now it's not my hands, right? Ugh. Okay, so like I was saying, these boys
Oops.
are fixated on gay people and transgender. I've never seen anything
Stacey
like
brought
it.
the story
They
up,
live
not us.
on this. They just live on it.
No,
Stacey
I talk
Yeah,
about
we-
what's going on in the world currently.
You
That's what we
talked
do.
about it because you knew you would get a rise out of these two baboons.
All
Look
right.
at that, Stephen.
Let me
boy.
He's close.
all right.
More like gorillas.
Yeah.
Share my screen.
Really?
I'm a
We're
silverback.
more like silverbacks, man.
Yeah. Silverbacks are tough. They'll break you in half.
Really? Silverbacks or brokebacks? I mean, well, same
Silverback.
difference.
I see
Silverback
where
gorilla.
I see where you would make that correlation, Todd.
Yeah,
Only
there you go.
Only you, brah.
Okay. I'm gonna play this just a moment. I don't know if you'll be able to understand it, but I'm gonna play it. This is breaking
good.
news.
What?
All right, I'm going to stop sharing it, and I'm going to find another one. Just breaking news: India attacked Pakistan. India
That's my
just attacked.
Brokeback hat.
What for?
That's
I
breaking
think it was
news.
in retaliation for something.
They launched a
Oh.
missile to Pakistan.
Why? Why would they do that?
I think it was a retaliation.
Okay.
So let me play this. This is a British report. It should be a little bit better.
Stacey not going to play the
No, I'm playing this.
India has launched an attack on Pakistan, and Pakistan administered Kashmir and Jammu. Relations between India and Pakistan, two nuclear powers, have long been tense, but deteriorated sharply following a deadly militant attack on tourists in Kashmir last month. Pakistan is vowing to retaliate at a time and place of its choosing. It looks like that may be underway. Our international editor, Jeremy Bowen, is here. And Jeremy, this news has just come in. So what more can you tell us? Fill us in.
Well, there are a few things to think about here tonight. First of all, the question is whether India will decide that their honor has been satisfied after that attack. And then the question will be, what about the Pakistani response? There's been news reports coming out, the Pakistanis saying their jets are in the sky at the moment. So the nature of their response to this and any escalation that results is clearly going to be something that people are deeply worried about, because both of these countries with a long tradition of enmity have nuclear weapons. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. At the moment is a response to an attack which India is blaming on Pakistan, on militant groups that are based there. And they have hit 9 places with various kinds of missiles that they've got. And they have been hinting that something like this will happen. It's been on the cards. So let's hope that internationally people are ready to try and calm the situation down to make sure it doesn't go any further than it needs to get, because India and Pakistan have a long history of tension between them. And over the disputed area of Kashmir, which has been disputed since the partition of India just after the Second World War.
Well, as you say, Jeremy, this has been on the cards for some time. Relations have been extremely tense between the two countries for a number of years.
Yeah, they have been tense. And so that's why this is something that we've got to be concerned about. But also, I think, first of all, both sides will know what the stakes are here. So, as I say, really important for everybody looking at this, people who might be worried about it, people who might have family out there, people who are concerned about what may happen, and journalists must not get ahead of themselves at the moment about this. Now, it's breaking news in the world, but it's something that now there has to be a major diplomatic push to stop it escalating, to calm things down for both sides, to say, right, honor has been satisfied now, we can draw a line.
Jeremy, thank you very much. Well, we can now go live to Samira Hussain reporting from India for us. Samira, what can you tell us?
Well, look, so far, the only details that we're getting here in India are actually from the Indian government and not the army. And what they're saying is that they have hit 9 targets in Pakistan. They're saying that these targets were, in fact, militant targets. They are saying that they did not target the Pakistan military. And they're saying that right now, actually, we're getting some reports of artillery shelling happening between the two countries at some points along the line of control. And now really what's going to happen is everyone's looking towards Pakistan in terms of what kind of retaliation we may see. Now, remember, it's been 12 days since that attack that happened targeting all these tourists. And many people have been wondering about what was going to happen between India and Pakistan. Remember, along this line of control, there has been quite a long ceasefire that has clearly been breached. And so now there's a real concern in terms of what Pakistan's response may be to what's just happened.
Richard in New Delhi, thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, this will be our roundtable. We're closing out. I know we had something as our roundtable as we're closing out. I know Stephen and Keith had two things they wanted to say. They wanted to talk about in particular. So let's do the India.
Let me guess. What could that possibly be?
Pakistan war, and then Stephen and Keith mention the things that you want to mention really quickly. We'll start with Keith and Stephen.
You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Are you talking about the video, Stacey?
Whatever it is, yes. Whatever it is you want to talk about.
Yeah, well, it's not this is different subject, but if it's okay with you, I'll say it. Nancy Pelosi in 1996, I wanted Todd's reaction, and especially Aguna, because he's supposed to be the economic conservative, and yet Nancy Pelosi is putting down China for their tariffs against the United States, their high tariffs against the United States. And they've always had tariffs against us, but we had low tariffs until Trump came. We had tariffs much lower against them and against other countries. So now the reverse has happened, where Trump has raised tariffs tremendously, and China and everybody else is upset. People like Todd and Aguna and Nas, they seem to be upset.
When are you going to get upset? When you're paying more?
No, Nancy Pelosi was she was explaining tariffs. It's in the video. So without further ado, I don't want to take up too much time, but I think that is worth seeing. I want to hear what Todd would say, because she explains tariffs. So Stacey,
I already know tariffs. Tariffs has been an American thing since the 1800s.
Oh, great. Okay, so since you know them so well, let's hear I want to hear your explanation of what she's saying in this video. I just want to hear your comment.
Well, I didn't hear what she was saying in this video.
Go ahead, Stacey.
I guess he's telling you to play the video.
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna
and
be
while you're trying to get it up, I'll explain even before she plays it. We've had tariffs with every country that barters with us. Just not ridiculously. For example, we can't produce coffee here. See, so we can't have high tariffs on Colombia because you won't have any coffee.
And we
you
probably
understand
don't.
how that works?
That's not even nowhere near the point, Todd. That's nowhere near the point of tariffs and what's going on.
That is
We're just trying to get a fair. We're trying to get a fair deal with other countries.
Let's watch the video.
Watch the video, please.
The issue of granting most favored nation status to China is a very important one for the American people. It is about nothing less than our economic future, our national security, and our democratic principles. As you know, the conflict in the House of Representatives and our disagreement on this issue has centered around the issues of trade, proliferation, and human rights. That's why I'm so disappointed that we have so little time to debate this issue today, and I can only ask the Republican leadership of this House and all of those who are so eager to move this along on both sides of the aisle, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of the facts? Are you afraid of the New Year's, the 4th of July break, constituents who cannot afford to travel to Washington with businesses would have time to express their views to their members of Congress? Are you afraid of 100,000 young people in Golden Gate Park gathered together to support free Tibet? I wish our colleagues were here and not away to a funeral or without votes off of Capitol Hill.
We're not going to be able to listen to her for an hour.
By them. Because today, members of Congress will be asked to set down a marker. How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo? As I mentioned, it's about jobs, proliferation, and human rights. And there are those who say we shouldn't link human rights and trade and proliferation and trade. I disagree. But if we just want to take up this issue on the basis of economics alone, indeed, China should not receive most favored nation status for several reasons that I'd like to go into now. I'd like to call the
No, we don't have this kind of time.
on the status quo that the business community is asking each and every one of us to endorse today. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China, the 1995 figure. It will be over $40 billion for 1996. Since the Tiananmen Square massacre, this figure has increased 1,000%, from $3.5 billion then to about $34 billion now. In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? On exports, China only allows certain industries into China, of U.S. Industries into China, and therefore only 2% of U.S. exports are allowed into China. On the other hand, the U.S. allows China to flood our markets with a third of their exports, and that'll probably go over 40%, and it's limitless because we have not placed any restriction. In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. Not only do we not have market access, not only do they have prohibitive tariffs, not only are our exports not let in very specifically, but China benefits with at least 10 million jobs from U.S.-China trade. The president in his statement requesting this special waiver said that China trade supports 170,000 jobs in the United States, 170,000 jobs, whereas our imports from China support 10 million jobs at least.
You're saying that 170,000 jobs are created in the United States by the China trade, but aren't there many more jobs that are lost in the United States?
Well, that's my point that I was getting to. I appreciate the gentleman for focusing on that. The fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser. And one of the reasons that it is because well, first let me just make another point, and that is that our colleagues on the other side of this issue will say the trade with China, exports to China have increased 3 times in the last 10 years. They have, but they fail to mention that imports from China have increased 11 times, thereby leading to this huge trade deficit. The gentleman has control of his time, and I really have a limited time.
Just
if I have
one
time
brief
at the
question
end,
about your chart.
I will at the end of my remarks. I promise, Mr. Chairman. And the reason it's a job loser for several other reasons.
I don't have any more time.
There is an important issue that we're all familiar with, and the piracy of our intellectual property. It remains to be seen if China will honor the commitment it has made in the recent agreement. It hasn't honored the memorandums of understanding or.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. So, and then I'm going to say, Keith, my question to you is, during that time in 1995, the Democrats were in the majority and Clinton was the president. But in 1995 to 1997, the House had the majority and Clinton was the president. So I'm trying to understand what your point is. These tariffs were going on under the auspices of both Republicans and Democrats.
My point is simply, like Stephen and I have been trying to tell you, China has been eating our lunch, like the president said. And he said, no more of that. You saw the fact that 2% of our export, that's what I want Aguna to explain, how that is benefiting the American people. What she said, you guys probably, it went right over your heads.
I'll tell you how it's benefiting you.
It went right over their heads, Stephen.
I will tell you. Now, he doesn't want to hear it now because he thinks he just made a point, which is a moot point. The way it's benefiting you, poor person, is you're broke. You don't have the money to shop where Stacey and I shop. So you have to shop at Walmart and Target, where Chinese people sell you.
People that manufacture here, people that do the manufacturing here will be benefited.
Don't you want me to be able to shop like you and Stacey? Don't you want me to be there too?
That was a joke. I was making a joke. Now, this thing, you shop at Walmart and Target because that is what Americans do. because their clothes are cheap and they're all made in China.
Yeah.
If their
But
clothes were made here in the United States, they would cost quadruple of what you pay at Walmart and Target.
well, you
So
saw the difference.
I shop at the thrift store.
One at a time. One at a time. Okay, thank you.
that has been for years. This is not new.
Thank you, Cousin Todd.
Companies
All
have
right,
I
left
don't
the
have time.
so
United
Trump
States
is
because
leveling the playing field.
Okay, thank you. I don't have
they
time.
could not pay you
Thank you.
time,
Stephen,
but
on India, what was the thing you want to bring up, Stephen, during the roundtable?
Yeah, just real quick. The Capitol Police scumbag murderer who murdered Ashley Babbitt on January 6th, the family sued DC, and they're getting $30 million because he wrongfully murdered an unarmed woman, and he should be hanging in the next few weeks, I think, to have justice in this world. And it was a setup by our government. There's 56 cops got hurt that day. The worst injury they had, the cop had a broken pinky because these people didn't go there for an insurrection. They didn't bring weapons.
somebody's
They didn't
eye
want to
was
fight.
put out. That's a lie. Somebody's
That is
eye was
not a
put
lie.
out, and he
I'll
had
bet you
surgery.
$500,000.
He's always, I
Bet
bet,
me.
I'll bet.
Bet
Are
me.
you?
This is my round table. This is my round table. So what happened is it was a setup by the government because our government actually stole the election in many different ways. And we had about 1 million people there that day in Washington. And nobody got killed on their side, but they killed a couple of our got 2 girls on our side. One they beat to death, one they shot to death, Ashley Babbitt. The one they beat to death said that she had an overdose or something. They made up a lie about her, but there was nobody went there to cause any fights or problems, anything. It was not an insurrection. It was on one side of the Capitol, they were shooting rubber bullets and concussion grenades at people that were just standing there like we did.
Okay,
And then on the other side, they were letting people in. It was all a setup that day. Nobody was ever in danger except for the Trump supporters. They were the only ones in danger. They spent 4 years in jail, 2 years in solitary confinement. Most of them, a lot of them have never got charged for years. They didn't get charged. And all those judges that are responsible for that, all of them need to hang as well. And we're not going to stop until they do. They all need to hang for what they did. They ruined these people's lives over nothing. And this is United States. I don't care if they're black, orange, red, green, or white. You couldn't treat people like that in America, and that's what happened to these people.
Thank you,
And I'm
Stephen.
glad Ashley Babbitt's
Todd.
family got $30 million because our government was wrong.
Thank you, Cousin Todd.
Okay, I'm going to try to deal with stupidity, but I'd like for you, since you're into playing these clips that these maniacs want you to play, is play a clip of the insurrection so that I can ask Crazy Stephen.
Don't ask
when
him
when they were banging.
Only thing they do is tell you this much.
When they were banging the windows and breaking in the door.
That was the FBI.
What would you call that? So the people that did that.
This is his round table.
So the people that did that should be in jail. First he said yes, and then he said no, and then he didn't quite know how to answer it. The people that were breaking the windows, like for example, Stephen, if you went next door and broke the people's windows that lived next door to you, you would go to jail. So at the Capitol building, same rules apply. You can't bash the windows in and beat cops. So the people that were doing that broke the law. And they're punished for that. So he never talks about bashing the windows in. And when this woman is climbing, after breaking the window, climbing in, yes, she would get shot. Now, Stephen and Keith, double talking liars. First they say, oh yeah, everybody should be armed and shoot them, shoot them. If somebody breaks in my house, I tell you what, I'll shoot. So the woman broke in after banging the windows and doors down. She tried to climb in and she was shot, just like Stephen and Keith said they would do. So now all of a sudden, the rotten cop that shot her, all this crazy demonic.
Okay, are you
Trump
done, Todd?
talk. No, and then I want to get on to his boy toy, Keith. Keith is so crazy until he doesn't know that tariffs is a tax for poor people. Now you won't be able to shop at the stores you shop at for decent prices. All the prices are going up and you can't afford it. So what are we going to do? Remember, Trump said on day one, I'm going to lower the food prices. They're not lowered.
Yeah, they
Remember,
are.
Trump
Yes,
said
they are lower.
they're not.
They are lower.
Stopped. Don't do that, Stephen. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, because gas prices are lower.
Okay, now he's going to switch it from food to gas. He's going to switch it. But anyway, that's a Trump supporter for you. Nevertheless, the prices did not go down on food. I just went shopping and spent $300. And I said to the...
I hear something clicking. Please, I don't know what people are going to stop with the clicking.
Well, it's not me.
It's his dentures.
It is you because I got everybody else on mute.
No, you don't have Stephen on mute.
I do.
Well, how come I keep hearing his loud mouth? Anyway, Trump said I would bring the prices down on day one. Trump also said, but Stephen and Keith weren't listening, I would stop the war in Ukraine on day one. The war is still going on, and it's over 100 days later. Because I would get Putin, he loves me, and he would listen to me, and I'd make a deal. It's over 100 days. So what do you say, Trump supporters, when you say it's been over 100 days and he didn't do anything he said he was going to do?
They would have had a deal of
war. He didn't stop the war.
He has no control over the people. He has no control.
Oh, now he has no
I'm
control.
asking him a question, Todd.
He first said, I would stop it on day one. Now, all of a sudden, he didn't have control. Well, nobody was there to do his hair and makeup. Well, you know what? Putin was mad at him because they made love. And you know what? Get out of my face.
All right. Thank you. I want to say that Stephen owes us an apology because they fired Jeff Ulbrich, whose son pulled a prank on Shador Sanders.
I didn't say, I don't owe you an apology. You owe me an apology.
Oh, get out of my face. You
owe me an apology when you said January 6th was an insurrection.
Look, and then he always kept, hey, this is what Stephen does. You against me. Y'all against us.
No, I didn't say, I said, I don't think he should have been fired for something his adult son did. I didn't say he wouldn't be fired. I said he shouldn't be fired. I think that's wrong.
All right. We're out of time to our, I did want to say it's horrible. We're going to have to keep our eye and we're going to pray for the people in India and Pakistan and hope that war doesn't spread out to be something that's uncontrollable. They're both nuclear powers and that's going to make a difference. And remember,
yeah, we don't need it. We're trying to get a tariff deal with India right now.
Apple wants to move their plant to make iPhones from China to India.
Right. Don't forget,
because of tariffs.
America was friends with India and asked India to not make their nuclear weapons, and we would protect them. This is what America said to India. This is what America said to Ukraine. Ukraine fell for it.
What are you even talking about? India has nuclear.
Thank you.
India has
India did not have nuclear weapons when America told them, if you don't make your nuclear weapons, we'll protect you. Same thing with Ukraine. Ukraine fell for it. India did not. India said, you must be crazy.
Well, Ukraine had the weapons and they said, get rid of the weapons.
What they were making, they were making nuclear weapons, just like, anyway, they were making them. They didn't have them. They were making nuclear weapons, stockpiling. I'm moving on.
Thank you.
India said, we're not listening to America. We don't trust you. Ukraine said, we trust you. We believe you. And look what happened to them.
Okay, thank you. We're out of time. To our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to our women and men and the U.S. military for all that you do in sacrificing your lives. So we are free to say whatever we choose on this show. We are forever indebted. On behalf of Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd, I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this conversation going on Facebook, Twitch, X, Instagram, TikTok at Sporlitiks.com. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel on Sporlitiks. Instagram, did I say? And Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Good night, everyone. That was a good show.
But Todd, your mic was totally messed up this whole show. You jacked us up with that sound.
That was awesome. It got on my nerves so bad.
Oh, get out of my face.
It sounded like you were at a place you rubbing your chips together. You getting ready to bet something.
You said it was.
See, that's what it sounds like. You're
Yeah,
rubbing
That's
chips
hard.
together.
Stop doing that.
It must have been I'm showing you, crackpot, what it must have been. Ooh. Keith said it was this.
Yeah.
Rubbing against my jacket.
It is.
So, okay. Yay. So that's what I was trying to show Cuckoo Bird.
Yeah, but none
I'm
of
doing
us
that.
none of us
Ooh.
need something in our ear, Todd. Why do you?
Because instead
You
of
hard of
putting
hearing?
things in my mouth like you do, I put things in my ears.
All right.
What?
Good night.
Those